Hey everyone, today I am in sunny Florida, or really it's not sunny anymore because the sun has set on us today. And so what we're going to be talking about today is line plot graphs and fractions. So we're combining what we talked about the other day with line plots and combining fractions with that. So one thing some of you know, but maybe not all of you know, is I love to eat pickles. You can see my pickle thing is green. So that's the problem with the green screen, guys. That's why you don't wear green right there. So I like to eat pickles, and these are zesty dill pickles, actually. And I have a bunch of them. So I thought, how could I combine my love of pickles with math? So what I did was I measured all the pickles that I have, and I measured them to the nearest quarter inch, because that's something we also worked on last week. And here's what I collected. There we go. Here's the length of all the pickles in inches. So I have 15 pickles in the 2 jars that I have bought within the past month or so here. So these are all the lengths of these pickles. So the question is, how could I make a line plot graph showing all of this data? Because looking at all these numbers it's a lot. It really is. It's a lot. So we can make a line plot graph to kind of organize all this data. So what we're going to do to create a line plot graph whenever you have fractions is convert, then graph. Okay, so convert your fractions so they all have the same denominator so that it's really, really easy to work with. Okay, so let's take a look here. So I have a bunch that are 3 1/2. So basically, I have halves already taken care of. Okay, I know what a half is. But these ones are quarters. So quarters and halves do not have the same denominator. So the question is, if I had 1/2 and I had a quarter, how can I convert these so they have the same denominator? We'll find the LCM of the two of them. So I have 2 and 4. Well, what's the LCM of 2 and 4? Well, it's 4. So that means I can convert 1/2 into fourths, which remember we do 2 times. So what equals 4? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. And whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So that means I multiply the 1 times 2, which is 2. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So I could go around and change all these halves so that they are now 2/4. That's going to make it easier for me to be able to do this. Okay. So once I've converted these, then it will make it so I can make a nice graph. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the rest of these here because all the rest of them will have a 4 underneath, or there's no fraction at all. Like I have a whole number right here that was exactly 3 inches. Okay, so we're going to do that first, and then we'll create a graph. So I'll show you how to do that. All right, so here we go. I have converted all of these numbers now so that they all have a denominator of 4 at the bottom, or they just are whole numbers. So the first thing I got to do is I got to find what one's the smallest one. Okay, well, if I have 3 versus 3 1/4, 3 is the smallest. So that's going to be my number on the first number on my number line. So the next thing I got to do is how am I going to divide these? So we can't just do 3, 4, or 5 because I have broken these down all the way into quarters. So think of your ruler. Okay, and so think, how could we divide these so that each distance is the same apart? Well, since I already have quarters underneath all of them, or fourths, that means I should divide these so that it's into fourths. So I would have 3 1/4, and then 3 2/4, and then 3 3/4, and then 3 4/4, which really, what is 3 4/4? It's just 4. Okay. So when you have fractions, whatever you choose as your denominators, whatever you want to do, that's how you want to separate your lines. That's what you want your increments to be, as we say. So if it was 8, all of them on the bottom, you do 3 1/8, 3 2/8, 3 3/8, so on and so forth. Okay, so now that I have my increments exactly equal, now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to mark them. So remember, pick an X or a dot. I'm going to do X today. So I have 3 2/4. So that means I'm going to put an X up here. I have 3 as my whole number, X here, 3 1/4, X here. And I'm going to do the rest of them, and you'll see a completed graph in a moment. All right, there we go. So I have completely graphed every single one of those data points there. Now, if you're somebody who likes nice numbers or simplified fractions, if you want to switch this back to 3 1/2, you can. The reason we convert those is to make it easier for us to make those increments there. So you can just go 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. It's a lot easier to do. Okay. So in this case, if I said, well, how many pickles were 3 1/4 inches long? I would say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of them. Okay. If I told you how many pickles are 3.5 inches or more in length, you would tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because 3.5 or more, there's 7 pickles. Okay. But there's something I'm missing. Yeah, did you see it? I don't have any label down here. So if somebody, if I were to show this graph to some random person on the street, from 6 feet away, of course, they would say, "What am I looking at?" There's just a bunch of numbers, and I would have to say length. Here we go. Length of pickles in inches. Now they would be able to understand exactly what this graph is showing them. Okay, so what you're going to do today is you're going to be making a line plot graph with fractions using that shoe data that I had you collect last week. So last week you had to measure your shoe length to the nearest 1/4 inch. So what I have done on this activity is I put all of that data that you guys collected, and you're going to make a giant graph showing all this data. Okay, so since I asked you to measure to the nearest 1/4 inch, what do you think you're going to convert all those measurements to? Yeah, to a 1/4, just like how we did here today. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do it on Seesaw, you want to do it on a piece of paper or outside, maybe it's nice today, and you want to do it on chalk on your driveway, or you have other ways that you want to create this graph, go for it. And you can just upload a picture of it. Okay. As always, if you have questions or anything, feel free to contact me. I'm here to help you. Have fun making line plot graphs using fractions.